we are back to break down the second half of Fear the Walking Dead Season 5, so you'll actually know what the hell's going on when you blindly start Season 6. From the new heroes we met, to the new villains we made, to the new trees we painted, we truly cover it all. I'm Woody Tondorf, covering up the build-up half season until the beat drops on Season 6, so stick with me. This is the Skybound Rundown. Here it is, you ungrateful bastards! In The Walking Dead, mid-season premieres typically feature massive stunts, high-stakes escapes, and shocking character deaths. For Fear the Walking Dead Season 5, however, we got a mostly lighthearted found-footage catch-up episode. Neat! The exposition confessionals reveal our heroes have trained harder, picked up more followers, and have racked up enough points to end up in the good place. Except for Charlie, she is destined to a toasty bed in hell. So what's a lighthearted premiere to do with little stakes? The Herd Locker! Specifically, Morgan and the gang have to rescue a helpless woman and her asthmatic son from a house that is surrounded by landmines. As I have stated many times in the past, Fear is the superior Walking Dead show, and yes, I will die on this hill, thank you very much. Oh, and did we mention Alicia's against killing now? Best season yet! While Morgan and the gang miraculously rescue the mother and son, Strand and Alicia stumble on inspirational messages painted on trees. Fans will think it's Madison, and they will be wrong. Instead, it's the work of this nice survivor Wes, who's found Morgan and Al's mid-season premiere tapes and wants to join them faster than Allison Mack and The Vow. 5A villain Logan, who looks like he just got unmasked by Scooby and the gang, find Wes and ask where the oil fields are, and he knows he's working with Morgan. He's not, but Logan shoots up Wes's motorcycle anyway and bails. So, you know, some villains bludgeon you to death with a barbed wire bat, others are just dicks with vehicles. Or vehicles with dicks, which is terrifying, but it also explains the existence of Lightning McQueen. Good job! Anyway, Morgan, Grace, and Dwight head to a mall to gather supplies and euthanize a bitten stranger they heard on the radio. Classic Morgan stuff. Grace passes out and reveals she either has a cold or she's slowly dying from the side effects of the nuclear fallout radiation. Smart money's on the latter. Thankfully, they don't have to wait for her to grow a tail because there's a medical facility in the mall to give her a diagnosis. Hurrah! Time to risk our lives to get there. On the road, Dwight gets captured by one of Logan's men, who reminds him of himself as a savior. Dwight gets the upper hand, but, like an idiot, lets him go, a favor that dude will not repay. Back at the mall, Grace and Morgan survive escalator walkers, euthanize the roof guy, and finally make it to the doctor's office just in time for Grace to decide she does not want to get tested, so she can keep hope alive. She and Morgan celebrate wasting our time by riding a merry-go-round. But hey, at least Dwight got this haircut, so it was only a partial waste of an episode, right? Right? We end up with Morgan leaving Grace to go on a mission with Al. Splitting up is the plot of this show. Elsewhere, Alicia nearly gets bit while admiring the work of Apocalypse Banksy. Strand thankfully saves her, which is more than I can say for the writers. The two serendipitously encounter Wes, small apocalypse, and get into some shenanigans at a police station, while Morgan and Al get into shenanigans at a bank vault.
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
At the station, a man takes off with Wes's stuff, and Alicia and Strand nearly die chasing him. They eventually track the man down, and Wes gets what was stolen, which was a manuscript. A fucking manuscript. Wes kills the man whose dying words are, "That's really good stuff," and then leaves the manuscript on the guy because he died for it. Morgan and Al get stopped by Logan on the road and later meet up with Strand, Alicia, and Wes to bury the man. It's then Wes reveals he is Apocalypse Banksy, breaking the hearts of Madison stands everywhere. Alicia finally starts killing walkers again, but also joins him in tree painting, which is somehow the end of her arc this season. Meanwhile, Logan and his people find Al's tapes at the bank.
Adios yesterday. I'm out tomorrow.
Hey, you ever wish Fear had their own Father Gabriel, but he was also Herschel? Well, you're in luck, and what a specific wish. Enter Rabbi Jacob Kessner, a religious man bound by tradition who Charlie encounters after sheltering in his temple. June and John arrive to get Charlie back, but quickly get surrounded by Jacob's undead congregation. Plot twist.
I don't believe in God.
And was only holding on to Jewish tradition because it's all he had left, and he is terrified of the endless embrace of the void. Just like the rest of us. Somehow, they all escape using ladders, then meet up with Dwight and Sarah on the road. Are they all like on Waze or something? Elsewhere, Logan and his people finally locate the oil fields.
We're about to buy ourselves a ticket to the promised land.
You know, I love how every episode ends with Logan ominously arriving somewhere as a cliffhanger. Great stuff. Flashback. Logan tries and fails to save a female survivor he heard on the radio. In screenwriting, that's called Save the Cat, where you write your character doing something heroic so you sympathize with them even if they're a skinny bag of dicks. It's then Logan meets the 5 horse people of the apocalypse, led by the newer villain, Virginia. Hey, it's Ashley from The Boys. That's fun. Back to the present, we finally catch up with Luciana, Wendell, and the Treehouse Kids, who apparently learned how to make gas but never learned child labor laws. Logan and his people do their best Negan impressions by busting in, putting everyone on their knees, and making problematic stan accounts on Twitter. Unfortunately for Logan, the man Dwight saved helps him and Sarah Trojan horse their way into the oil fields, leading to this standoff. That night, walkers show up and the oil fields catch fire, leading both groups to bail. Logan's #1 soldier even leaves him, forcing Sarah to save him. In a trailer, they hear a female survivor radio for help from the same gas station in his flashback. Small apocalypse! Logan tells her to kill herself, and she almost does, until Wes saves her. Tiny apocalypse! Strand and Alicia arrive at the station the next morning as Logan and his people try to make peace with Dwight and the others. Suddenly, Logan and his crew are gunned down and killed by Virginia and her pioneers. She rides down to reveal she's been watching them and can help them find Sherry, make a brewery, and pay for Skidmark's law degree. They politely decline, which is a bummer, but Luciana offers to help them make gas if she lets her friends go. Morgan and Al run into a man named Tom, who's been trying to rescue his sister Janice from Ginny's group. Althea, who thinks the cult is involved with the Three Circle folks, agrees, so she and Morgan break into the compound. Since it's fear, Al gets tackled by a walker into a swimming pool, forcing Morgan to jump in after her and kill it. I love this show! Woo! Virginia then greets them and explains Janice left soon after Tom. Fantastic! Another failed mission. Meanwhile, Daniel and Grace get attacked on the road, causing Daniel to drop his records, which features my favorite beta Easter egg. Back at the apartments, Ginny lets Morgan and Althea go, even gifting Morgan with a new staff, which counts as epic equipment. She reminds them it's not too late to join her. Despite her quote-unquote kindness, they decline the offer again.
Stuck on a stone when you could be slurping soup.
Morgan radios Grace and Daniel to give them an update, which is when he learns Grace might not have a cold after all. Don't worry though, June fixes her like an episode later. Hey, were you missing the found footage from earlier? So you're the one! This time, we're making a real documentary to counter Virginia's propaganda. Is there television? I don't know. Anyway, Tom's sister Janice arrives with Wes. Hey, it's the girl from the gas station. Why not? Later, John leads everyone to another western town in hopes of finding their permanent home. On the way, they get stopped by Ginny,
Howdy there.
who again asks them to join her. When they refuse again, she shoots her guns and attracts nearby walkers. Dick move. The gang survives, except for Tom, who dies while vlogging. And just like Ben in the Walking Dead comics, Tom will not be missed. With their transport gone, it's time to go full Oregon Trail to the Gulch. It's then Morgan almost confesses his feeling for Grace, but he doesn't, which is great. When they finally arrive, they discover the Gulch completely overrun by zombos, so what's a desperate Morgan to do?
We need your help.
Call 1-800-GINNY to solve their problem. Dwighty don't likey, so he goes full Dale from I See Dead People and bails.
Fuck this! You all suck, I quit.
On his own, Dwight hallucinates Sherry's voice, but does not hallucinate the team of horses riding up to him. Fear the Walking Dead! He rides them back to the Gulch just in time for Morgan to give away their location to Ginny. New plan, we're gonna use the horses to lead the Gulch herd towards Ginny. Meanwhile, this caravan of extras will settle in, and Alicia and Wes will get a head start on painting shit. Back in the wilderness, Dwight's horse gets consumed, Morgan saves him, and the whole plan generally goes to shit. So how do you celebrate a failed plan? You get married, of course! June and John adorably tie the knot while Daniel, Grace, and Charlie perform It's Alright. It's not! Ginny and her people skip the wedding to crash what would have been the reception, which is super rude, and then they start rounding people up like it's Sophie's choice. Morgan and Grace finally confess their feelings for each other right before, you guessed it, they get separated. With everyone gone, Ginny pulls a revolver on Morgan and tells him,
just resenting your face so much.
And shoots him in the chest, which is absolutely fatal and marks the end of an iconic character that we've grown to love for the last decade, but, you know, not enough to keep him in the main show. Morgan radios Just Live into the ether as we finally say goodbye to an old friend. What? Morgan's back for season 6? Does that make zero sense? Yes. Does Fear the Walking Dead give a single flying fuck? No. And that's a wrap on Fear the Walking Dead Season 5. What were your favorite moments, besides all of them? Are you excited for Season 6? Sherry's back, and there's this bounty hunter guy. He looks cool, right? Ooh, and look, the SWAT truck's still at it. Fuck yeah! Make sure to like and subscribe to Skybound, and check out our Walking Dead podcast, Talk Dead to Me, which will soon feature guests from Fear and World Beyond. I'm Woody Tondorf, a sophisticated computer program that gets smarter by the day, but is forced to only make mediocre Walking Dead recap videos, and I'll see you next time.